Greetings, students. This is Professor Estrada, and this is a video lecture for week 1, part 1, and part 2. And so I wanted to kind of show you a little bit of what you will see, so how you can navigate Brightspace in the hopes that it becomes a little bit easier in finding things, looking for things, and viewing them. This is the home page. This is the go-to first page that you will see. The beginning, the left side tab will always have a greetings and welcome. It's especially helpful whenever it comes to recap announcements, additional information that you may need, just helpful things. And I do this at the very end on a Friday, but also on a Sunday, just to remind students of what is in the online folders and what we did. My right side tab will always tell you where you can contact me. It tells you that this is an absolutely 100% online course. It tells you what we're doing. This is my phone number for my office and my email. One of the things that I wanted to point out is, while you may have like a work to do module right here, but also a calendar right here that tells you when things are due, please understand that these are just here to remind you of due dates. They specifically tell you what's in some of the folders, but don't get overwhelmed. The one button that I would like you to view and look at is the content button. Your ribbon color or ribbon may look different than mine, but this is the instructor view. But I do want to make sure that you look and click on that. So it will say content, and this is where you will find the content page. Whenever you click on things on the left side tab, they are things that you have to click as a module and they open up, but they do tell you what's in the folder. So for this folder specifically, this one is the welcome folder. It just tells you that there is a video that you can look at. It just tells you welcome to the class and what to prepare for. There is the course syllabus. The course syllabus is here for you to glance at your leisure. It tells you especially that there is a link that you can find, or the course calendar as a whole. The course calendar is a PDF version that you can look at. It tells you all the information based off of the course. If you want to go back and look at the syllabus, it does tell you policies, standards, objectives for the course. It tells you what we do, grading components. It tells you late work, policies, or essay submissions, all that good stuff. And again, it's there for you if you want to go back and look at it. But this is the course calendar for the course. It just tells you as an overview what we do per each week. So the week is divided as if we would be seeing each other twice a week. So like a Monday or Wednesday or Tuesday, Thursday, however. That's why there's specific folders, so that it doesn't become all bulky. And it's just 1 week at a time, so that is a lot. So I divided them into part 1 and part 2 folders so that it's less of a space for you. And it just says that subject to change at the expense of the teacher. So these are what's in the folders right now. We go by week to week. So everything that is in the week 1 folder, part 1 and part 2, will always have a due date of a Monday morning, which is the day that we start, which is October 20th at 8 o'clock in the morning. And all of this remains open for you to complete and do within its due date, which is Sunday, October 26th at 11:59. So anything taken for a grade during that week will be turned in. But within my syllabus, it does state that you are allowed to turn in stuff late, which is perfectly fine. I do have a late pass policy. I'm going to click on that real quick. I go to right here. My late pass policy tells you that you can turn in things late. As the exception would be your research paper at the very end of the course. But it does allow you late work. So some teachers may not have that as something that's worked into their course. But I do allow late work because I do understand that things happen. But in the event that you turn in something late and you don't use an extension, which is just my way of saying a late pass, I do accept late work at the expense of each day late. I just mark off 25 points per each day late. And after that, I don't accept it. But this just tells you that my late pass policy will allow you up to 48 hours without me counting it late at all. I just write it as an email by 10 o'clock on the day that it's due. So Sunday by 10, just send me an email for a specific assignment and I won't count it late. And I write that in my notes. I also included right here an email that tells you how to write that. You don't have to explain why you're using it. We understand that everyone has different lives, especially with an online class. Just tell me that you would need it for a specific thing. Maybe you it's 10 o'clock on a Sunday and you're not going to get a lot of it done, use a late pass. That's what they're there for. But my course calendar does tell you at a glance that what we do within those weeks. So everything within the week 1 folder, part 1, and everything within the week 2 part folder, if taken for a grade, will always be due on a Sunday. So we will go in from a Monday morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, to a Sunday at 11:59. So anything taken for a grade outside of essays or anything like that will always have specific due dates. So let's look at this as an example. We're going to be looking at the week 1 part 1 folder and the week 1 part 2 folder, so that way you can take a glimpse at what is inside them. So on my left side tab, I do have to click on the button modules to get to where I need to go. The right side tab does tell me what's in that folder, making sure that I click on those things on the left side tab to get to these things. So week 1 does have lecture slides for you. You're more than welcome to view those, and here in a minute we'll look at those. There is an icebreaker discussion board that I would like you to familiarize yourself with using discussion boards and introduce yourself in the class with that discussion board. There is a handout that I would like you to skim and consider as you write in discussion board 1. So this class also looks at the components of elements in writing. We're looking at literary themes and how they appear in text and as we evaluate them. So we are going to be looking at stories and what stories do. And the overall question that we're going to be answering is, what makes a good story? And so our first 2 stories within this week 1 part 1 folder, is reading The Appointment in Samara and reading The North Wind and the Sun by Aesop. So Aesop was very famous for his fables. And so these are 2 short stories that I would like you to read. They are in the form of a paragraph, so they're very short. If I'm able to ever find its audio, I try to upload the audio so that way you have it. I found that it's been very useful, extremely useful for students, especially students that go back and they can just listen to the audio if they're taking a jog or if they're driving. You're more than welcome to use both, but I always try to make sure that the PDF is available for you as well. So notice that because this runs from a week 1 all the way through a Monday morning to a Sunday night, everything that could be taken for a grade is not due until that Sunday night. So we consider the fact that this discussion board icebreaker, this discussion board number 1, are not due until Sunday. And this is where I wanted you to kind of see the difference. So it says that it's due October 26th, which is this Sunday. But while your calendar on the home page, when I click on that home page and there was all those modules and different times and stuff, it does say a specific day. It says a couple days later. That's because I still allow late work up to 4 days late, with each day deducting 25 points off. But after 4 days, I do not accept it, and it's a 0 in the grade book. But always go by what the actual weekly due date is. There might be some exceptions to this, but I do want you to adhere to that. So let's go into the week 1 part 1 folder. It says that there's some slides for us to look at, and these are my lecture slides as if we were in class, but we can always look at these online as well. These are my lecture slides. It tells you the section. It tells you that it's a 100% online class. It tells you that it's fall quarter 2 or fall second 8 weeks, and my last name. It tells you the course overview of what we're going to be doing in the class and the objectives for week 1 part 1, or whichever day we are at. The introduction, the syllabus itself at a glance, the navigation of how to use Brightspace in the Hill College email, and the introduction of just specifically this folder if you're looking at these slides. So going into Brightspace, just make sure that you find my course for your online class and how to log into Brightspace. And when you are communicating with me, how that would look like in a sense. Making sure that whenever you're communicating with your instructors that you understand that it's as if you're having a professional conversation. So make sure that there's a subject line. As I teach multiple students online and in person, make sure that you allow me a couple of days to respond, if not a couple hours, but also to adhere to making sure that you give me your section number, because different sections have different due dates as well. But let's go into our to-do list. So our to-do list for this week 1 part 1 folder says that we are going to go into an icebreaker discussion board, and you have to click on the modules on the left side tab, and they open up a page on the right side tab. You have to click on them to get to there. Okay, so this should open up a discussion board. This is where some students may have already opened it up and viewed it, but this is just the video that's lagging and taking a while to upload for you. So you're going to go into this discussion board and you're going to answer a couple of questions for me. Notice its due date. It's still within the week 1 due date window, so it's not even due until Sunday, October 26th. But you're just going to look at a couple of these and you're just going to answer. To find its box, you have to start a new thread. And I'm going to put right here, welcome, video, example, as if you're watching this in real time. So students, if they've already seen this, they're gonna be like, what's going on? But I'm going to type in a couple of words and I am going to post. This page may indicate that if several people have already did an icebreaker, I really appreciate that. Thank you, everyone. But I closed out of it. Okay. The next thing on my folder is for me to skim this handout called Effective Writing Handout. It doesn't say for me to download it. It just says to skim it. Okay. Simply skim it, lightly read through it. There's no quiz or anything on it. It's just telling you to evaluate how you write and consider what common errors appear in your work. And after skimming that, it says to open up the discussion board number 1. You have to click on it to get there. Clicking on the discussion board. And it tells you, after going into it, it says for discussion board number 1, after skimming the handout, answer the following questions. And so it gives you by steps on what to do. So step 1, write your own post. In a couple of sentences, more than 4, with a word count, I want you to answer the following questions. So this can be an entire paragraph. Please don't do a paragraph each letter or each question. Just make sure that you can answer all of these in about 4 sentences or more. And evaluate what that handout does. And look at your writing in reflection to it. Step 2 also says to reply to people. This is where you're going to go in and see if anyone else has posted and make sure to reply to them within a specific word count. So Word Doc, Google Doc, Microsoft Word, they do count words for you at the very bottom of their page, but I included within this folder a word count website that you're more than welcome to use to count your words. And that's where I'm going to be using instead of specifics to make sure that you adhere to word counts. And if you don't know how to reply to people, here's some sentence starters that help you. And notice that due date. It's still within the week 1 folder due date. Okay, and this is my rubric on how I grade. Notice that a few people have already started, which is awesome. Thank you very much. But for me to start a new thread, you can use any font color, any font size, anything like that, as long as it's appropriate, as long as I can read it. And I'm going to put example from video. And then again, if you're watching this in real time, you're going to be able to see this. So that way people can know that it was taken care of. Okay. And so several people have already answered. So after you do yours, it does tell you to reply to people. So you're just going to hit their reply and you'll click on it. You'll actually have to click on it to reply. Okay. Make sure that you reply. Wonderful replies for people. And you're going to reply to whoever started a new thread. Thank you for letting me use this one, Gabriel. Okay. And so you may be thinking, well, how do I know how to count the words? Where is she getting that specific number from? So I have a word count link right here. You're more than welcome to use. In it right here, I simply put words and it counts them for me. It counts them specifically for characters or words or sentences. But if you need to count words and you don't want to open up something else, you're more than welcome to start your discussion board in here and then copy and paste it back in your discussion board. I've had people say that this automatically may shut off or doesn't save. So you're not saving anything on here. You're simply counting words, but don't forget to copy and paste it into your discussion boards. And this is just something that's in all of mine. So notice that within this folder, it tells us that we're reading 2 stories. So the first story is the appointment in Samara, sorry. And so I found it as a text. The text should download here shortly, but I also included it as an audio. So here is the appointment in Samara. Short and sweet. It's a really good story. And the audio, if you want to go back and watch the audio. But the next story is The Sun in the North Wind by Aesop, who was very famous for the tortoise and the hare type of stories. And so I would like you to read that one. And if I was teaching this in class, I would have already read them if they're shorter like that. And that is the conclusion of the Week 1 Part 1 folder. Now let's go into the Week 1 Part 2 folder. Notice that I opened up both folders for you because they're both things that you are doing. Both folders are being completed within this Week 1. Week 1 Part 1 and Week 1 Part 2. So within the Week 1 folder, Part 2, there are lecture slides. There's 2 more stories. There is a discussion board and a quiz. Okay? And this adheres to the part of the due dates for those specific folders. Oh, I accidentally clicked on something. Okay, so here is my Week 1 Part 2 folder. So within the Week 1, Day 2 or Part 2 folders, here are my beautiful slides. It tells you, as if you were looking at this specifically first, what would be in the folder. It opened up and did it all over again. Okay, so it does reiterate the beautiful slides. It tells you what was in the Week 1 Part 1 folder if you went ahead and did that. The navigation of Brightspace, how to email me or how to get in contact with me. And then we begin our beautiful lecture of what story elements are.